Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. In short, AJAX. AJAX is not a programming language. AJAX just uses a combination of a built-in XML HTTP request object and HTML DOM with the help of JavaScript to display data on a website dynamically. AJAX can send data to a server in the background. AJAX can receive data from a server after the page has been loaded. AJAX can update a web page without even reloading the whole page. Let's see how AJAX can do all of this with the help of some code. On the left, we have a very simple HTML page in which we have a division which is of ID demo. In this division, we have an H2 heading which says let Ajax change this text. Then we have a button which is of type button, and we have an DOM event attached to it which says on click equals to load doc. Load doc must be a JavaScript function then. On the right, we have defined the load doc function. Here we are using an XML HTTP request object. The XML HTTP request is used to exchange data with the server. It is the built-in browser facility. And with the new keyword, we are creating an object of it with the name XHTTP. Further, we have said XHTTP dot onReady state chain equals to some function. This is the function which we define that what to do when we receive the data from a server. We have given that the data, whatever we receive, should replace the inner HTML of the division with the ID demo. Further in code, we have defined a URL, which is a URL of Autonized AI GitHub API. If you go on to this URL, you'll see some details about our Autonized AI GitHub page. Now, what should happen is we want that detail on our web page whenever we click that button. So let's create a GET request. We will use an xhttp.open. In this, the method we want to use is GET method, then the URL, and the true specifies that the AJAX is actually asynchronous mode. We have made this connection. Now send a request with the help of xhttp.send. Let's try to run this code and understand how AJAX is actually asynchronous. This is the output from the code we just studied. As we expected, whenever we click on this button, it should load the details which are present on that URL. As you can see, we have got a login to be of Autonized AI. Hence, the code is working. Let's try to understand how this code is actually asynchronous. To do that, let's open an inspect panel and go to our console, and we will try to print some details in our JavaScript function to understand how it is actually asynchronous. As we know, the JavaScript runs line by line. So let's try to understand which line is getting printed. Let's print the order in which the code is being executed with the help of console.log. This is the first line which will get executed. Then After it opens a connection, the second line will get executed. After it sends a connection, the code goes inside the function. So this is actually the third line which should get executed. Then after it sends the connection, the fourth line should get executed. Let's save this and run this. And whenever we click on the change content, this function will run again. As you saw, the order is not the one we expected. It is because the code is asynchronous. It's now not running line by line. So the order in which our code ran was first it sends 1, then to 2, then 4. The xhttp.send is actually sending the request to the server, and onReady state change is actually working whenever it accepts the incoming data. That's why the code ran from here 1, then 2, then 4, and whenever we received the data, the log was we got the output to be 3. And in this way, we can send as many requests as we want, and the code will be asynchronous.